Hello, Big Team. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. And it is time, a little late, for me to share with you what I'm reading in the month of July. So, this whole year, I've been participating in 3 read-alongs. I'm also working on finishing all of the Newbery winners. I'm working on my Serious About Series list. And for the summer, I'm participating in a few readathons, one that takes place over the entire summer, and a couple of others that are happening right now in the month of July, and one short one that has just finished. So I want to share with you what all I'm reading for all the things. So let me just start by talking about what I've already finished this month. I have 3 audiobooks that I've already finished, and then I have several print books that are on the go right now, as well as a couple of audiobooks. One of those I might DNF, but we shall see. So when we started the month of July, we were halfway through the Janellathon. That was a readathon in honor of our friend Janelle from the channel Too Fond of Books, who passed away recently. And there were no official prompts for the Janellathon, although my friend Donna from Studio in the Library came up with some prompts for a possible Janellathon type readathon before she ever knew that there was going to be an actual Janellathon. And so I shared those in my tribute to Janelle video that I did a couple of weeks ago. So I did not do all of Donna's prompts, but I did do a couple of them, and one of them was to read a historical mystery. And in fact, Donna mentioned that Janelle's favorite Agatha Christie was The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. So I had listened to that on audio a couple of years ago, and I only rated it 3 stars, and I wanted to go ahead and give it another try and listen to it again. And at the point I was about halfway into it, I was on one of the Killing Time with Cozy's live streams, and I think I made the statement that I still, wasn't really getting into the story. And Storm from Storm Reads mentioned that she thought that probably people really liked it because of the ending. So when I got to the ending, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that. The ending does make up for some of the lack of interesting things in the middle of the story, I guess. I don't know. I just didn't fully immerse myself into the story. And so I still just kept my 3-star rating. I didn't hate it, but I just didn't enjoy it all the way through. And I'm kind of a character-driven reader. I'm not really a plot-driven reader. And that might have been part of the problem. So I've only read a few Agatha Christie's up to this point. Probably my favorite at this point is And Then There Were None. And I think that's just mind-blowing. But I've read a few, and I'll keep trying different ones. As the co-creator of March Mystery Madness, I have to, continue to read some Agatha Christie along the way, or I'll be a complete and total fraud. But this one, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, was not my favorite, but it was Janelle's, and so I gotta respect that. And also, I just appreciate so much of the time Janelle put into recommending books and mysteries to people in her videos. So I will definitely be going back and watching more of Janelle's videos, and making note of some more of her recommendations, because just because I didn't gel with this one doesn't mean I won't love many more of the recommendations that she mentioned on her videos. So then for one of my other read-alongs, it's the Triple Top Treat read-along, which is basically a fun way of saying we're reading all 3 of the Jen McKinley Cozy Mystery series. I listened to Cloche and Dagger by Jen McKinley. This is book 1 in the Hat Shop Mysteries. I listened to this either on the 1st or 2nd of July. And this was actually a reread. This was the only one of the Jen McKinley Cozy Mystery books that I had read prior to doing this read-along. And the reason, in case, you haven't heard about this or are wondering why we're reading all 3 Cozy Mystery series, we're reading them in publication order because someone in a live stream told us one time that there are some character crossovers in her series. And so we thought, oh, it would be kind of fun to read all 3 of her series in publication order and just get the full story. And so that's what we're doing. The discussions for this are on Melmax Buddy Reads, which I'm pretty sure there's a link for it down in the description below in my default things that always go in to the bottom of my descriptions. If there's not, you can go to the Killing Time with Cozies Discord and you can find a link to Melmax Buddy Reads there, because her Discord is where we do a lot of the discussions that we're reading for Killing Time with Cozies. All right, so finish that one. And then for no other reason at all except that I am just now hooked on the Jack Reacher series by Lee Child, I picked up book 3. I listened to this on CD from my library while I was working some jigsaw puzzles, and very good. I am totally hooked on this series. I haven't watched any of the movies. In fact, I looked it up because I was pretty sure that Tom Cruise played Jack Reacher in the movies, and I really can't see it. I mean, the Jack Reacher character is supposed to be just this huge big guy, and so I learned that there is a newer Netflix series that has an actor playing Jack Reacher who has more of the physical attributes of how Jack Reacher is described in the books. But anyway, I haven't seen either of those, but I love the books, and definitely going to keep reading the series. I already have book 4 on CD checked out from my library. Well, I mean, I have it on hold. I haven't picked it up yet. And then book 5, my library doesn't have it at all except in physical form, so I'll probably have to read that one with my eyes. And then I think I can get some of them on digital audio through Libby, through my library, so I'll be looking forward to that, because those I can speed up and get through faster because they're so good. All right, so that is what I have finished already. So what I am currently reading on audio, I am currently reading or listening to A Medal for Murder by Frances Brody. This is book 2 in the Kate Shackleton mysteries. This is a historical mystery series. I'm not sure exactly the time frame. This series is set in England, and I believe Frances Brody is a English author or British author. And it's not grabbing me totally. In fact, I've had to restart a couple of times, and I'll realize that I'm kind of zoned out, and something will be happening, and I'm not really sure what is going on, and I have to go back some. Some books are just harder to follow than others, and maybe I'm just not as interested in what's happening as I would be in something else. So, I don't know, but I'm going to finish it. I am counting this for my M book in the Killing Time with Cozies ABC challenge that I just carried over from last year. I didn't start the ABCs over. I'm just doing them in ABC order, and I'm up to M, so this is what I'm listening to. Then the other audiobook I'm listening to is for a special book club that our library is doing. Each summer they try to have an adult reading program that coincides with the theme for the children. And so the theme this year has something to do with kindness, and we've already read one book for the summer, and it was a historical fiction, which I'll talk about in my June wrap-up, and it was great. For this month, the one we wanted to read, or the one that the leader wanted to read, we couldn't get enough copies of. So they picked an older book that's nonfiction, and I'm really not enjoying it at all. I probably will have a hard time finishing it. It's Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. Have any of y'all ever read this? I know it was a really popular book. I think it was a movie, but it is just not anything that I feel like I'm going to enjoy. I am not enjoying it up to this point. Although there was something that happened right at the end of disc 1, I couldn't tell you what chapter that is, that I thought was about the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. So, I don't know. If you're curious to know about what that is and you've read the book, then message me privately on Instagram or something, and I'll tell you about it. But anyway, I may not get through that one. I don't know. We shall see. All right, but I am reading 6 books in print, 5 of them for me, and 1 of them with my daughter. The one with my daughter is this cute little bedtime devotional of the Berenstain Bears. It's written by Mike Berenstain, who is the son of Jan and Stan Berenstain, who were the creators of the Berenstain Bears. And it's actually meant to be a bedtime devotional, but we do our devotions in the morning, so I'm still reading this to her in the morning. But, it's fine either way. But it has original artwork in it that I believe it said in the beginning of the book that all of the artwork is artwork that is from one of the Berenstain Bears books. So that's really neat. And the other things that I am currently reading in print, I have finally picked back up with World Without End by Ken Follett, and I am not quite half done in this 1,014-page book, but it is epic. I also picked back up with I Remember Laura. This is edited by Stephen W. Hines. I started this during the Little House Readathon back in early February. I did read some all throughout the month of February, and then I put it aside until this month because I knew that I didn't want to read it during March Mystery Madness or Amish in April. Of course, in April, I really wasn't reading much of anything because I was traveling, but middle grade May and all of that, and then I just didn't get around to picking it back up in the month of June. So I was happy to discover after I did pick it up that I was at the halfway point when I started this month, and so I am actually now almost done with it, and I should get done with it completely by the halfway point of July. So that's good. Then I've got another book that's also on my currently reading list that I started during the Little House Readathon, and I will probably pick it up in the middle of July and maybe try to finish it by the end of the month. I'm not as far along in it as I was the other, and so I might have to carry this on into August, but it's fine. Anyway, this is Prairie Tale by Melissa Gilbert, and I am not actively reading it right now. It's just on my currently reading list on Goodreads. But the other books I am actively reading, I have another one that I carried over from June. I started this in mid-June when I realized that this is my library book club book for July, and I couldn't get access to it anywhere on audio except buying it on Audible, and I'm too cheap for that. So I just started reading it. And it's really good. It's not a hard read at all. I've been reading a chapter or 2 a day. This is The War Librarian by Addison Armstrong. Mostly I'm reading just a chapter a day, but there's 34 chapters, and I had just about 30-ish days to read it. So there's a few chapters near the end that are pretty short. So I have... There have been a couple of days that I've read 2 chapters if I had extra time, but I'm just making sure I read at least a chapter a day. And then when I get down to the wire and have to double up, it won't be a problem at all. Because I'm sure by the, you know how it is. When you get to the end of a book, you're invested in the characters and it just goes faster. I'm that way with mysteries and everything. The beginning, I'm slow to get started. But by the end, I can, plow through the last few chapters. So, so far, I would highly recommend this book. I don't know if you guys have heard of this or not, but it has 2 timelines. One is 1976. It's a girl who is entering the United States Naval Academy as the first class of women who were allowed to enroll there. And then there is a timeline from 1918, and that is about a woman who is a war librarian in World War I. So, and the 2 characters are connected. So, it's very, very good so far. I am a little over halfway done, and I'm really glad that I didn't get it on audio because I think I'm getting more out of it just by reading it. And then the 2 books I'm currently reading right now for read-alongs. One of them is the Southern Sewing Circle read-along that the Killer Time with Cozies group is hosting. And again, those discussions are on Melmax Buddy Reads Discord channel. That's a mouthful to say, but anyway. We are in book 7, which is Let It Sew. It takes place at Christmas, and so it kind of fits that whole Christmas in July theme, and I am a little over half done with it. It's worked out really well ever since my trip where I kind of got behind, and that was back in April. I have had to really work hard to squeeze 2 cozy mysteries in per month in print because this series is not available on audio anywhere. And in the Jen McKinley read-along, I can get the Hat Shop Mysteries on audio, I can get the Bake Shop Mysteries on audio, but I can't get the Library Lovers on audio. So I've been having to read these in print, and of course these have to be read in print, and I don't want to read them exactly at the same time. So I read one at the first half of the month and one in the second half of the month, mainly because they both take place, the setting is, it's a library setting. The word Briar is in both of the town names, and there's just some other little parallels and things that it's just better to keep them a little bit separate so that I don't confuse the two. So I am right now reading Let It Sew, and I'll finish it up by the middle of the month, and then I will start Read It and Weep, which is the next book in the Library Lovers Mysteries that I need to read. I can't remember what number it is. And then for the Follow Us to Fair Acre read-along, which is hosted by Kate Howe, we are currently reading Summer at Fair Acre. And this is book 16 in the Fair Acre series. She had kind of thought we might go ahead and read 2 books again this month, but I really campaigned hard to just read one because I just don't want to rush through these books. And even someone in our last live stream chat said they thought that Miss Read was better read at a leisurely pace because they're just so idyllic, and the people, I feel like, are living at a leisurely pace. They're not rushed. They're just enjoying their life in Fair Acre. Not without problems, but they're just so good. And I have really, really enjoyed this series. Now, I will also mention that since the Janellathon started at the end of June, I squeezed in a third Miss Read book for the read-along because I had been behind and I was working to catch up. And I did read Village Centenary for the Janellathon, and also I read it quick enough that I could participate in Kate Howe's live stream discussion at the end of June. So my 2 books for the Janellathon were the book 15 in the Fair Acre series, Village Centenary, and The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. So that's everything I'm currently reading. And before I get into what I'm reading for the Readathons, let me also mention a couple of the other Jen McKinley books that I will be hoping to get to before the end of July for the Triple Top Treat read-along. The next book I'm going to be reading is book 2 in the Hat Shop Mysteries, which is Death of a Mad Hatter. And then I believe this is book 5 in the Cupcake Bakery Mysteries, Sugar and Iced. So I'll be able to listen to both of those on audio, and I will listen to those after I finish Read It and Weep, because like I said, we're going in publication order. So this one is the next one, and then I can't remember which of these is before the other, but I'll look that up before I start one or the other. Okay, so then for July, I'm participating in a couple of readathons. I am co-hosting the Mandeathon, which has 5 prompts, M-A-N-D-E. So the M prompt is read a murder mystery, and I am counting the Frances Brody mystery, the Kate Shackleton mystery called A Medal for Murder for that. And then the next prompt, A is for Apple, and the prompt there is to read a book with red on the cover, or has a red cover, or a book with an apple on the cover. Now, I pulled this out, but I thought, there's just no way I'm going to get to this. This is book 1 in the Apple Orchard Mysteries by Sheila Connolly. I really want to get to this, but I'm already reading 2 in print. I can't get this on audio. Several of these are on audio, but they're later in the series. So I probably won't get started on this series until next year. But if she has the same prompt next year for the Mandiathon, perhaps then I can pick it up. But I did find on audio, on Hoopla, a book called Apple Die. I can't even remember the author right now, but it's a fairly short book. It's probably also available on Kindle Unlimited. And it's the first in a series. It has some, I kind of briefly looked at the covers of the other books, and I think each of the books is food related. I'll put the title of the series here. And anyway, that's what I'm going to listen to for the A prompt for the Mandiathon. The end prompt is for nocturnal, and you can either read something at night or you can read a fantasy book. Well, you don't have to twist my arm to get back into the world of Robin Hobb, because I am ready to start the Rainwalls Chronicles. And this is a 4-book series, and it has something to do with dragons. I'm super excited. Now I had kind of a senior moment a few weeks ago. I was on one of the Killing Time with Cozy's live streams, and several people were mentioning that they were reading Robin Hobb, and I was like, yeah, I've read 3 of her series. I'm ready for the 4th one. And then I started second guessing myself, and I thought, wait, have I read 3? I don't know. And I looked briefly back on Goodreads, like during the live stream, and I thought, oh, maybe I haven't read the Tawny Man trilogy. And I said, okay, I'm wrong. I've only read 2. No. I went back and looked again. I did listen to the entire Tawny Man trilogy last year. I zipped through them because I loved them, and I can't believe that it didn't stick with me enough to remember that I had, yes, in fact, listened to all of them because they were great. I finished one and I picked up the next one and I just zipped through them. I wouldn't be surprised if I do the same thing with this series, because Robin Hobb just really writes compelling, awesome fantasy books. I'm not even a big fantasy reader, but I have really enjoyed her books. So this first book is called Dragon Keeper, and I'm really looking forward to it. So then the D prompt is for Indie. Now, I don't know if I will get to this one this month or not, but it's not super long. I might have to, if I have time to pick up another print book, it might have to be in lieu of picking up another Newbery winner or something. I don't know. For the last few months, it's kind of worked out where my print reading has been a cozy mystery and a Newbery or a middle grade book and a misread book. And those are my primary 3 books I've been reading in print. And that was kind of part of the reason that for a while I wasn't picking up World Without End or the other books, not only because I was focusing on other books for the specific readathons I was doing in, February, March, April, and May, but I just had really been trying to kind of limit myself to 3 books at a time, just because I didn't want to spread myself too thin. And really, I want to get back to that, even though I'm reading 5 right now. And the one for my daughter doesn't really count. That just takes a minute or 2. And I'm always going to read with her, regardless of what I'm reading for myself. But I need to get up early enough that I get all my reading done and then have, and I need to get done with that by about 8:30 so that I can get on with the business of doing work throughout the day. And, and I can do audiobooks after that. So right now, reading these 5, it does take me sometimes till 9:30 or 10 if I have that luxury of time. And so if I don't have the luxury of time, then sometimes I'll come back at night and finish up whatever I didn't get finished in the morning. Or I just don't read as much out of each book in the morning in order to be done in time for whatever I have to do during the day. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I've said all that to say, I don't know where I was going with that, but I guess I don't know if I'll be able to pick this up or not. Okay. Wow. How big of a rabbit hole can I fall down? Anyway, back to indie authors. So I don't have a lot of books that are written by independent authors, and I had to kind of think for a minute, and then I remembered I have 3 books by an author that I actually kind of went to high school with. He was enough years ahead of me that he was probably 3 years ahead of me, so I probably wasn't actually in high school at the same time as him, but I grew up in a school where kindergarten through 12 was all in one building. Not one room, but one building. One big long building. And this guy's brother was one of my classmates. So a few years ago, I wrote to him. I found him on Facebook, and I asked him if he had any more copies of this book, because I knew that it was dedicated to my dad, who was one of his teachers. My dad was a junior high and high school science teacher. So anyway, this is Vengeance is Mine by Wes Parker. These were all self-published. I don't even remember how long ago this was, but probably in the 90s, late 80s and 90s, because at the time my dad had already passed away, and he died in 1986. So The dedication says, "This work is dedicated to the late Charles Rudolph Jones, the childhood friend and teacher who taught me that there is no shame in cowboys following scholarly pursuits as well as cattle." So my dad was a cattleman. I grew up on a little 250-acre ranch called Slowpoke Ranch. Our cattle brand was a turtle. And yes, we were late everywhere we went. My dad's nickname was Slowpoke. So I come by the lateness, honestly. I'm trying to see. This was published in 2005. And like I said, it was self-published. And Wes is such an independent author that he is not even on Goodreads. I don't even know if there was a Goodreads in 2005. So anyway, he did send me this and 2 other books, and I was very appreciative of them. And I have not read any of them. So I want to start with this one. It's not long. And since I have been reading some Westerns lately, I can't wait to tell you about what I read for June on the Range. I wish I had thought about this in June, and I could have picked it up then, but then it wouldn't have counted for my indie author for the Mandiathon, so I guess it's all good. Anyway, looking forward to getting to this, and whether I get to it in July is fine. I'll count it for my D prompt for the Mandiathon, even if I get it done later. And then the next one could be anything, because E is for everything. Read anything and everything for the E prompt, so any of the stuff I'm showing you could count for that. So the other readathon I am participating in the month of July is the Retro Romance Readathon, hosted by Storm from Storm Reads and Sarah the Bookish Knitter. And the theme this year is Christmas in July. So I am going to do 2 things, and they are all going to be from the same author. For the Christmas theme of it all, I am going to listen to one or more of the Angelic Intervention series by Debbie Macomber. I believe this first one was first published in 1993, so it definitely counts as retro. I just recently found this box set of CDs at the bookstore where I work. We have a few audiobooks on CD, not a lot, but I happened to notice this, and I was like, oh, I am going to get that. I'm going to buy that. So this has Season of Angels, Trouble with Angels, and Touched by Angels. And up to this point, I had not ever been able to find these on audio. My library does have the Mrs. Miracle books on audio, and maybe one of the others farther down. And I think most of the books in this Angelic Intervention series are unrelated. They just have an underlying theme of angels. So I don't think you have to read them in order, but, you know, I still like to read things in order if I can. And since I found these on audio, I can sit and work some more jigsaw puzzles while I'm listening to these. So I think this is the second time I've mentioned jigsaw puzzles in this video. It's because a friend gave me a whole box full, and she was moving, and she gave me some, and I'll eventually probably put them in our yard sale. And you know, if there's some that are really cool, I will put them on eBay, but I'm not going to try to sell them or pass them on until I know that all the pieces are there. And I like to do jigsaw puzzles anyway, so why not just work them? All right, so that's the one thing I'm going to do, and that counts for the Christmas theme. But I also have 2 from a Debbie Macomber series that I need to finish. As I started the Navy series by her back in, I guess, February for the Retro Romance Readathon. At that point, and I listened to 4 of them, and at first I didn't think that book 5 was on Hoopla, but it is. It's just for some reason not linked in with the series. So the next one I need to read is Navy Baby. That's book 5, and then book 6 I believe is Navy Husband. So both of those are on Hoopla on audio, and I can easily get to those in the month of July, and then that will check off another Debbie Macomber series for me. And that series is also from the 90s. I believe that Navy Baby was originally published in 1991. So, so yay, all 5 of those books will count for the Retro Romance Readathon. Whether I get to all 5 or not, I don't know, but I will definitely plan on getting to at least 3 of them. Then the last readathon that I am sort of low-key co-hosting. I'm sort of the YouTube liaison for the summer clearance readathon, which is hosted by Donna from Studio in the Library. She does not do videos, but she is hosting her readathon in her Goodreads group, which is called Reading Goalposts, and I will put a link for that in the description below. So she has several prompts, and the idea for the summer clearance readathon is to take the whole summer and clear some books off of your TBR. So for me, I am taking it a step further in that I am clearing some books off of my currently reading list, because I have 3 fairly good-sized books that have been on my currently reading list since January, February. And I've talked about that already, and I even already showed them to you, because I started them in January, February, and then because I wanted to focus on, the other themed readathons in March, April, and May, I did not pick them back up. I had said I wasn't going to pick them up till June, and I didn't even pick them up in June. So July, it was time to do it. Actually, I did pick up one of them in June, starting on the second day of summer, because one of the prompts that Donna said was to pick your longest book on your TBR, start it on the first day of summer, and make it a goal to finish it by the last day of summer, by September 23rd. So the longest book on my TBR is technically not on my TBR anymore. It's on my currently reading list, but I had already started it, and I didn't really feel like I needed to start anything new until I finished this. So Donna, I hope you don't feel like that's cheating, but I really feel like summer clearance could really mean whatever you need it to mean, and for me, it's clearing some books off of my currently reading list. So I have a goal now to finish this by September 23rd. I might even get it done sooner. I mean, it's epic. It's hard to put down. Once you pick it back up and get back into the story, I don't want to put it down. I have to make myself. But before I continue getting ahead of myself, let me just go through Donna's prompts. Now, I'm probably not going to do every single prompt. The criteria for checking this readathon off your list is to read at least 3 books from at least one of the prompts. You can read 3 books from one prompt, or you can read a book from 3 different prompts, however you want to work it out. And I will probably read more than 3, but there's a couple of them that I think would be harder for me than others, and I would have to actually look for something that's not already on my TBR to read it, and that's not the point of this readathon. The point is to clear some things off of your TBR, not put more things on it. So, here we go. The first 3 prompts are fiction prompts: reacquaintances, new friends, and mood. So for reacquaintances, pick up a second book in a series or something by an author you've read one book of. And I am going to combine that prompt with my Serious About Series challenge, because I started out the year saying, for sure, 3 middle grade trilogies on my Serious About Series list that I wanted to finish this year, that I had already started. I had read the first book in all 3 of them, and I needed to read the last 2 in all 3 of them. And this was kind of a carryover from a challenge I gave myself probably 3 or more years ago, and that was to read 12 middle grade series all in 1 year. I was going to read 1 series a month, the last 2 in 12 different series, and I only got, I think I only got 8 of them done. And then I think I finished up one last year, and so I still had 3 at the beginning of the year. I've already read one of them. That was the Randoms trilogy by David Liss. And so the other 2 are the Neptune Project by Polly Holyoke, and book 2 is the Neptune Challenge. So I'll either pick up this one, or I will pick up the next in the Robin Hoodlum Adventures by Kekla Magoon. I've already read the first one, which is Shadows of Sherwood. This is a Robin Hood retelling. This was a Sunshine State book, and the Neptune Project was a Sunshine State book. And then I read both of those a few years ago. Always wanted to pick back up with the series, and each of those series, and I hadn't yet. So anyway, I do have book 2 of the Robin Hoodlum Adventures. This is Rebellion of Thieves. And it's not quite as long as The Shadows of Sherwood, which is nice since I have to read it in print. But I'm looking forward to it. I did really enjoy Shadows of Sherwood. It's kind of an urban fantasy retelling of Robin Hood, and it's a girl. So anyway, I'm excited to get to book 2. And then the second prompt, which is new friends, she wants you to try an author that you've been wanting to try for a long time, and now it's time to do it. So I don't know if I'll get to this one or not, but I might. I've got a book here, and I really only learned about this author and this series, I think earlier this year or late last year. And I was at a book sale, and I saw several books in this series, and I just kind of was intrigued by it because this is a type of book or a subgenre that I've never really explored. And that is sea stories. So the series is Romage by Dudley Pope. Have you guys read any of these? I guess it's a series from maybe the 60s or 70s. There are some newer trade paperback editions, and that is what I ran across. Well, the first set I ran across were farther down in the series. And I was at a fill-a-bag library sale, and I looked them up on eBay, and they were selling, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to get these. And so I brought them home, and I listed them on eBay, and I was just kind of looking at them, and I thought, if I ever find book 1 of that, I'm gonna get it. And so I did. I found book 1, and so for now I'm gonna keep it and read it. I haven't even looked. I don't think I've even looked to see if these are on audio, but I don't think they are. Anyway, I'm just curious about it. I've never read Moby Dick. I've never really read much of anything that is set on the ocean. I mean, some of Robin Hobb's books, like the Mad Ship trilogy, those have a lot of ocean scenes. A couple of Newbery winners set on the ocean, and a couple of the Narnia books. I've read all those, but still, it's a small drop in the bucket of everything I've read. I really have not read much about living in a boat and sailing and being on the water, even though I used to work on a cruise ship for 9 months. But I don't know. This is just intriguing me, and if I get to it, then that'll count for that prompt. And if I don't, I'll get to that one of these days. But, Donna didn't say we had to do every prompt. The third prompt is mood. Read something you're in the mood for. And so, that would probably count. This will probably count for that as well. All right. The next 3 are nonfiction. The first one is play. So she says she wants you to indulge in your creative side, read a book about something that you're interested in doing. And she even mentioned you could read a decluttering book. And I might very well read another decluttering book. I've already read a few this year. But I've been wanting to dive back into a knitting project. And so I thought, I wonder if Debbie Macomber has any nonfiction knitting books, because I'm trying to read all of her catalog. And I did find this one. It's called Knit Together. Now, it's technically not a knitting book. In fact, the subtitle says, Discover God's Pattern for Your Life. So it's really a Christian inspirational book. But I could justify it. I think the cover could make it count. And I would also use that as an encouragement to get back into this knitting project that I have barely started. So we shall see. And and that is available in an abridged version on Hoopla. So I will listen to that version for sure. And then the next one is Discover. It says you want to explore, read at least one book about a subject or person that has always interested you and that you want to know more about. So I mentioned picking back up with the Prairie Tale book by Melissa Gilbert. I would count that for that. Again, it's something I've already started. There are plenty of books. I own quite a few celebrity memoir. In fact, I thought the other day I should just do a video about all the celebrity memoir books that I have. But for now, as I'm clearing things off of my currently reading list, I'm going to count that for that. And then the sixth prompt is to read a book about a place that you want to visit or you have visited or that you want to learn more about. I may not do that one. Then she's got 3 bonus prompts that can be fiction or nonfiction. And bonus 1 is the one I've already talked about, where you choose one of your longest books and set a goal to read it from the first day of summer to the last day of summer and finish it. So I am going to continue reading World Without End. And when I picked it back up, I missed the first day of summer, but the second day of summer, I looked at what page I was on. I still had, I think, 694 pages left to read. And so still plenty of pages to carry over into, you know, most of the summer. Then the second bonus prompt is a comfort read. Something, you know, that's a go-to book when you want to decompress. So I guess I could probably just count any of the misread books for that. I'm currently reading Summer at Fairacre, and then I will be reading another one in August and another one in September. So probably any of those can count for that challenge. Then the last bonus prompt is kind of a try a chapter type of prompt where she said, you know, take some books that you wonder why you haven't been able to get to them yet and read a chapter of each and then pick the one that grabs you the most and read that. And she even goes on to say, if none of those three grab you, pick three more and find a book that really grabs you and read that one to completion. So I don't think I will have time to do that one based on all the other stuff I'm reading. But if I do, I might even just pick 3 books out of my TBR jar, or even better, pick 3 books I've already drawn out of my TBR jar that I haven't read yet and try a chapter in each of those. That might be a good plan. Okay, so that is everything I am reading currently and everything I'm reading for the readathons. Let me see if there's anything else here. I've got a couple of other things that I have not shown you that are also possibilities. My next Newbery winner that I will probably read is The Cat Who Went to Heaven by Elizabeth Coatsworth. Very short, so I ought to be able to squeeze that in. Then I mentioned the ABC challenge that is hosted by Killing Time with Cozy's group, and my M book I'm already into, and so for N, I will listen to No Good Tea Goes Unpunished. That's book 2 in the Seaside Cafe Mysteries by Bree Baker. So I want to try to get to that one this month as well. And I guess that's about everything. Oh, I did actually. Okay, so one of Donna's prompts was to pick up an author that you've been wanting to try. And I do actually have something for that. And this is the first in the Harry Bosch series by Michael Connelly. I picked this up at a library book sale couple months ago, and I have been wanting to read this one. I'm pretty sure my library has this on CD, but I found this physical copy and thought I would just go ahead and grab it. So yeah, I might possibly pick that up at some point during the summer. But I will probably get through as many Jack Reacher books as I can first. So anyway, that's all for this video. I have rambled on long enough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.